Hey everybody, Real Estate Ninja here. I hope you're doing well. A little cold outside, so I decided to stay in on this one. I've only had one sip of coffee, but I gotta be honest with you, I'm pretty fired up. So just so you know, this ain't the caffeine talking. I'm gonna talk about a handful of things, and it's about the brutal reality of this real estate crash we're already in. We're already seeing one news outlet, and I'm not even gonna name which one it is, but I'll probably cover it in the other channel in an hour. They're already telling you the straight up truth about what's going on in the markets, but all the other media outlets are lying. They're in denial or they're lying, just like they did in 2006. It's incredible. I'm going to talk about a YouTuber that is like what most people would consider the OG of real estate investing, leading people astray. And this person started in 2007. Okay. I'm going to tell you why their thesis is so flawed. It's crazy. We're going to talk about how I pissed off a student on the real estate course, and I did it on purpose. I'm going to tell you why I did it. I am going to talk to you about a friend of mine, a good friend of mine. It's going to be rough because I can't have this conversation with him in person because he won't deal with it well. He's going to need to listen to it on this channel. And then I'm going to talk to you about that real estate course I made and why I did it and what was so darn hard about it and the brutal truth about it, because there's so many people out there that need to hear some facts about this. So let's start. Let's talk about the YouTuber. So I'm not going to say this YouTuber's name right out. I've met this person when I first started my channel, very famous. And he did an interview the other day with another real estate professional that are leading people astray. They're getting people into these deals at the top of the market, and they're saying it's never been a better time to buy. There's never a bad time to buy as long as you get good deals. Here's the problem with that. They started one in 2007, the other one in 2010, 2009 maybe. And they have only known ultra low interest rates. Even by 2007, rates had collapsed because the Fed was dropping them very rapidly in 2006. The one thing that hit me really strong was the fact that they would say that in 2007, 2008, it was brutal because you could barely it was really hard to get mortgages. Here's the key. They got mortgages. They talked about it like, yeah, we got mortgages. It was just really hard. No, that's not the truth. That was 100% false. What they were used to, the first person was used to, I was in 2007, was seeing those neg-am loans and how easy it was to get those. The liar loans, right? And then it went to, oh, you need full docs. That's the only difference. So you needed to prove your credit worthiness, your monetary background. You you had to pay principal and interest, right? There weren't any of those interest-only loans right about then because the whole industry was collapsing and contracting, which is exactly what it's about to do in 2024, where it's going to be very hard to get a loan, but it's not. It's not going to be hard to get a loan for people that are ready. It's going to seem harder to get a loan than it has in the last couple of years because the truth is coming out during investigations right now. Freddie Mac is investigating that a lot of loan companies gave loans to people that should not have been given them. Then they falsified the information. You're going to see this news come out in about 90 days. All right. But you heard it here first. I talked to you about it a month ago, and I'm not going to rehash all that video. You can go back and look at that video. But my point being is that you're going to see the perception of getting a mortgage. It's going to be hard, but it's not. Because all you have to do, and there's no secret sauce to it, so you don't have to buy a course to learn this. You just need to have a good credit score and have your ducks in a row and have your down payment in a bank account long enough called seasoned money for a few months to where you can go get a mortgage. And you're going to be the only one walking in getting a mortgage for two reasons. Because people are going to be scared crapless because the real estate market is falling like a rock, and it already is. Most people have no concept. I've proved 100% of the people that I've spoken to or on live streams wrong when I go, give me your town. I'll pull it up in 3 seconds and show you the price drops. It's so easy, but it's because it just begun, right? It just began 6-7 months ago, actually. But the fact is most people are going to miss that mark because they're listening to the wrong people. And now these people are into sub-2 deals. And I'm telling you, take on all this debt at 3%. Well, let's see how that works out when your tenant can't pay because they just got laid off and the government came out and said, don't worry, you don't have to pay. And you know, if you think that's crazy, I don't know where you were during 2020, but that's exactly what the government did. Don't worry, tenants, you don't have to pay. Or when they find out the fact, the matter is, I had somebody call me a fearmonger because there's no proof. There's no proof that the VA has all these foreclosures. I'm like, are you high? You must be smoking something, because the truth is the Senate just put pressure on the VA to stop, to halt all of their foreclosures. Well, just so you know, that's because there's a lot of them. That's a fact. But you got people out there that are so clueless. Now, here's the good news about those people. The dooms, the naysayers, you know, you're wrong, you're wrong. They're failures. And they're never going to win. There are actually people in this world that will never, ever, ever win. They will always be poor. Why? Because they're busy blaming someone else rather than looking in the mirror and going, what do I need to do to be a success? How do I start taking action now? I'm sick and tired of sitting on the sidelines. I'm already getting into my friend's conversation. But these YouTubers are out there leading people, tons of people astray. They're making tons and tons of money. Now, do I make money? Absolutely I do. Do I make amazing money? Yes, I do. Although it's all based on perception, right? We're all at different levels in our life. I'll dive right into my friend. My friend, a while back, I bought a used Porsche that cost less than my friend's 3 Series BMW, because he bought a brand new BMW, right? Another friend has got multiple toys, and he came to me one day, and I've known him since 2004, to give you an idea of some context. So remember, I've told you the story before. I'm like, I made my first million when I was 26, and you know, it was done in real estate, and blah, blah, blah. I'd tell you my life story. I've done that many times before. Well, this person comes up to me and goes, well, you must be doing well now. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You know me. And this is the truth. And this is why I called the channel Ninja. Because I told you one of my favorite books is The Millionaire Next Door. It's a book that tells you about how you may be living next to multimillionaires and you'll have no concept of it because they drive older cars. They don't have the nicest house and stuff like that. That's been my story. That is the truth. So if you want to hate on me for being a millionaire, well, I don't know what to tell you. If you want to become a millionaire, you need to listen to millionaires. That is the truth. If you want to become a centimillionaire, you need to listen to centimillionaires. That's where I'm working on right now. Okay? There are a lot of people that just want to sit in their own filth and just take it. They just want to be a victim. They'll never tell you that. They'll never admit it out loud, but that's what they're doing, right? Our actions prove where we want to be in life, who we want to be, who we want to help, or who we want to take from. And there's a lot of takers out there. Those takers, they're never going to be successful. Matter of fact, many of you may have family members that are in that boat. They just want to take, they want to mooch, they want to complain, and they want to attack you verbally, even if it's just off the cuff or like, you know, subtle, when you're like, hey, I got this goal and I want to go here, or I want to go there. Oh, you can't do that. You know, just so you know, the only reason they say that is because they're looking at themselves in a mirror. They know they can't do it, so they might as well think, well, you can't do it, because they don't want to look in the mirror and have a hard reality. Yeah, my family member is out there crushing it, and I could too, but life's just a bunch of choices. And this all comes to play into this real estate collapse, because this is the craziest thing. This is the most easy, fundamental, insane fact about real estate. And let me give you a little background. Been investing in real estate since 2001. I was in handyman, like home flipping businesses forever. Started multiple side hustles. Started a real estate brokerage with 2 other partners. Then I had to become a real estate agent. I just challenged a test in California just because we had a $30-something million property that was falling apart. It was a 1-year escrow, and I needed help with the negotiations, so I had to become an agent. I was the worst real estate agent ever because I was an investor. Most real estate agents aren't investors. They don't understand cycles. They don't understand value. They don't get it. Like, look at that paint. That's not. So I've been around the block when it comes to this stuff, right? And my buddy that said that, oh, you must be doing well. And I go, you were with me in 2005 when we're meeting Kiyosaki and, what's his name? Totally blanking out. The big guy. He's like 7 foot tall. Tony Robbins. And I'm like, you were there. You saw me flipping homes. I told you, you saw the Ferrari, the kit car, right? The replica, because I saved up for the real one, but I'm like, can't do it. I've got a family, bought a replica, and then I bought my F-350 cash back then. And I'm like, and I'm like, this is a used car. but people, the way they perceive things are just insane, right? So you're going to find that during this next real estate crash, the people that, and they'll never tell you, but you'll just figure it out one day, that they made millions because they were ready and they pounced. There are people that are super quiet. And the only reason I'm not is because I'm on YouTube. But by and large, I live a pretty quiet life. And my friends still, to this day, don't, you know, I used to say the old adage, I used to tell my wife, Mal, you know, I would give someone some advice, some financial advice back then. I don't do it on YouTube, of course, or on the internet. But I would, hey, look, you know, and this is, you know, and I used to tell people, I'm like, I would never speak if I didn't think I was the wealthiest person and the person that, like, the foremost expert in the room that could give this information. I get super quiet if I think there's someone smarter because I want to learn. I just want to learn. I want to get as much information into my system as I can. And then I want to use it, right? I would say that, and I knew that I could change their entire situation with one sentence, and I would say it. And I would grin when they wouldn't listen to me. They'd care less because they'd look at me and judge me and go, what do you know? And I would whisper to my wife or some of my friends that knew things about me. I said, yeah, but if I pulled up in a Ferrari, those people would be begging. They're users, they're takers, they're abusers. They have low self-esteem. All right. Well, the whole thing, I started on this thing. The reason why real estate crashes is it's because it's based on emotion. That's it. It's all psychology. But you're talking about psychology of the masses, how the masses in our country view the value of real estate. This is, and I'm about to get to that story of how I pissed off a real estate student on purpose. Because there's some brutal truths that people need to realize. You don't need to invest, you need to invest in you. That just takes time. It takes money too. It takes more time if you spend zero money. If you spend money, it takes like barely any time. It's called a life hack. When you go, and I heard this from a successful CPA that he's probably watching, that worked for two big firms, massive firms in the country. And he said the greatest life hack, he spent $8,000 or $7,500 on a course. Now he's a CPA, and he took a course from another CPA on winning tax strategies. And I said, why would you do that? I already knew the answer. And that's not me being smart, but I knew, because you could tell with this guy, I say kid, he's 36. But how many of you kids are out there? 36 and down under. He goes, that was the greatest life hack ever. I just got to learn from 20 something years of this guy's experience of everything he did wrong or screwed up. And he put it in a course, and it was because of the things he learned, right? And he learned them the hard way. So he's all, I spent $7,500 to save 20 years in time. I'm all, that's a guy that's going to make it. That's a guy that's going to dominate it. And just, you know, he owned a lot of hotels too. So he's a smart guy. Calls himself the crazy brown guy. He's is it from Pakistan? I don't remember what country. Sorry, Zishan. I forget which country. But anyway, my point being is this. He is a successful person, and he's going to continue to be a successful person. He's going to be a bigger success, because where did I meet him? I met him at a tax event. And how many of you have CPAs that you don't even think like crack a book each year? It's like you're teaching them how to do taxes each year. Well, that's not this guy. He was in a room. I went to a tax event where there was like 10% business owners like myself, 50% CPAs, and probably 40% tax advisors, right? And so he knew that this crash was well underway. That's why he's liquidating all of his assets, his hotel properties. And so let's get to this, why I pissed off a student. Actually, no, first I'm going to tell you why I did the course in the first place. You notice I haven't said any of those, hey, look at those links below. I'm going to tell you why I did this. Because I'm reading a book on sales. I read tons of them, and I'm a good salesman. But you're going to find out in a year from now that was a give me. And I always like to try and help people that don't believe in themselves, because for the 100 people that will just crap on your advice. And I have a feeling, type 1, if you feel like this too, you have really good information and knowledge because you have become successful. And even if you're not successful, like let's say in dollar terms, not millionaires, billionaires, all that stuff, but you're like, something you would talk about, you know, really well. Type 1, if you've said it to people and you know if they listen to you, it would work like that. It would change their scenario like that, but they won't do it, right? Well, for every 100 people in this world that act like that would crap on you and your information because they're judging you, just so you know, there is one person out there that will become a student of yours and listen to you and take that information and run. And then the most amazing thing happens, the most amazing phenomenon. That person comes back and thanks you. And you know what that does? That fires you up to deal with another 100 schlubs. That's it. And so when I started this course, the only reason I started is a YouTuber contacted me and had been following the channel for a long time. He goes, dude, your information is amazing. You need to start doing consulting calls. You can make some money. He's like, you can just help. Because I would talk to him and I'm like, oh no, don't do that. He's a business owner too. And he's like, holy cow, I never thought of this. I never thought of that. And you just saved me so much money. He's like, you got to do this professionally. And so I started doing it, and it was very humbling because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm charging more than, and I said, how much do I charge? And he goes, you got to charge a lot. And I'm like, oh, that was hard. And I'm like, I've been used to getting crapped on for years and giving advice, you know, at all times, being a millionaire, being worth, you know, and I'm not bragging. It's just the truth. Sorry, it's the truth. The ninjas got money. And when I was in my early 20s, right? And then I made more money in crypto. I made tons of money in side hustles. Holy cow. And so my point being is that he said, you got to charge a lot. So he gave me the number. I don't remember what it was. I want to say it was $250 to $300 a half an hour, 30 minutes. And I would say, email me here, and we'll set up an appointment. And then what I want you to do is I want you to bring me your problem. And I always knew in the back of my mind, there's only one time I had to I gave someone their money back because I'm like, holy, I can't fix your problem. I can't fix this. But I would look at people's situations and they would tell me all their issues, finances. I'm like, oh no, don't do that. Don't do that. Do this, do this. Right? Now, I wasn't giving investment advice. It was like the Dave Ramsey style. Like, don't do this, do this, you know, what kind of mortgage you got? Oh, holy cow. You know, this is why you want to refinance into this kind, boom, boom, boom. And everyone instantly walked away saving 10 times as much right then and there. And within like the 5th or 6th call, I went, okay, I'm onto something. I'm actually helping. So it gave me the confidence to do it. Right. One person I couldn't help, and one person I could not help, and I gave them their money back. And I said, I'm sorry. And they were just like blown away that I'd given them their money back. But I'm like, no, you become successful by being honest. I know you get screwed by a handful of people, the takers in life, but this is all about the real estate crash. Okay. I know this sounds crazy because I'm using a couple different scenarios to show you why you need all this information to be successful during this next real estate crash, because real estate crashes are all emotional. Okay. There's no underlying fundamentals. It's all based on perception, the value of the perception of value when it comes to real estate. All right. And things that guide that are outside indicators like the Fed funds rate, insurance costs, things like that. All right. I teach all that stuff, but I'm giving you a very broad overview. I mean, there's more lessons in that course now, especially the new updated one that's coming out, the big one. That's going to be on psychology and cycles. Right. And so I did that. I gave that guy his money back. And I turned around, I said, there was one couple that ended up, they were crying at the end. They were so excited. They were like crying and cheering. They were so stoked. And I'm like, I don't think I've really helped you. You're doing right. And you know what they said to me? This is what blew me away. And it taught me a lot about students and teaching. They said, you know, both of us came to this conclusion that you're agreeing with, but because we know nobody in finance, we know nobody that is successful, we needed to hear it from someone else that agreed with our plan. They're in the Central Valley of California. Hopefully they're watching this today. Maybe they got burnt out on the channel. You never know. But they were ecstatic. And I felt like, I'm like, well, I didn't give you any big ideas. Like, I feel like I should give you your money back. And I would like to give you your money back. And they're like, no, what you just did gave us the boost in the arm, and we're going to take this to the next level. And I know they did. I just know it. You could tell. Now let's talk about the person I pissed off. This is a student. Now, you know, all the time, and I'm just going to be totally real with you guys. I've sold a lot of classes. This has been an amazing blessing. The reason why I started the classes is because another person came to me. And see, you have to listen to people. If you don't listen to people around you, there's a lot of people that give me advice and you're like, okay, I'll take that with a grain of salt. I'm like, or I'll table it or I'll ponder it. Because there's some that I'm like, oh yeah, that's weird. That's crazy information. But I pondered it and then I went, oh, and I pondered it away from my own mind. I thought about it in their mind. Like, why do they think this is such a good idea? And I'd start thinking about it. And all of a sudden, holy cow, now I get it, right? If you can get out of your own mind, you're going to be very successful in life. If you notice, the people that always go against the grain, they're always the ones that win, and they win big. Because the masses, there's no money to be made where the masses are, okay? And trust me right now, the masses aren't getting ready for a real estate crash, okay? They're getting ready to be a part of the real estate crash. Type 2 if you understand what I'm saying and agree with that. Okay. So I started that course because I was getting so burnt out on helping people. I didn't have enough time in the day. And someone came to me and says, look, you're giving really good information about the real estate cycles and stuff. You need to go and put it into a course. I'm like, I can't do that. It's not me. And he said, no, you need to treat it like you're mentoring thousands of people. And I went, they just clicked. And I went, okay. And so I started these lessons, and it was really hard to start it. And then I started getting feedback from people. I had friends and family that actually went out and bought the course and didn't tell me, which made me sad because I'm like, I would have given it to you. But then one person said something key. It was a family member. He said, I wouldn't have used it if you gave it to me. And he called me after he'd finished it, and he goes, I cannot believe the amount of notes I have. I've watched it twice. And I'm like, wow. And I needed that shot in the arm, right? When another YouTuber I've never met, one day my phone's blowing up, everyone's texting me. Some random YouTuber that's his whole channel is about side hustles, bought my side hustle course and did a review on it. And I watched it. Boy, was I scared to watch it. And it was sad to watch this guy get a ton of hate because my name, the Economic Ninja, was in it, and the side hustle course. And I know we're talking about real estate, but I'm just got to explain this because I want to be honest and transparent with you. Okay. I was scared, but then it was a positive review. And then he goes, the only thing he's missing, which I really wish that you had done 3 lessons on this, and this. And I texted in the thing. I've never spoken with this guy, and he took so much hate from people. You're a paid shill. You're getting paid. Man, I afterwards, I'm like, what can I do to thank you? He goes, nothing. And I'm like, I can't even refund your money because it's outside of the 30-day. Well, at that time it was 30 days. Now it's 14 days. The software won't even let me. I'm like, dude, I got to do something. He said, no, because that brings this authentic stuff. I'm like, okay, thank you. Please review another one. And he goes, and I said, but I went and made lessons for you. And that's why I always said in those courses, I said, look, I'm going to keep making bonus lessons as new things appear, because this is my way of mentoring people. It's not a course. It's how I do the lessons. I do it like I'm talking to you. I talk about what I did wrong. Like I just went out to Arizona and filmed 2 of my one flip that I should never have sold. I sold way too early and I lost $200,000 in value. And I went and filmed my first 4-plex, and what has changed and what hasn't changed since then. And the neighbors got weird, but that's about to go on one of the courses because it's a mentoring thing, right? I want to mentor. This is what I screwed up on. Don't do this. Don't do what I did. This is what I did really well. Do that, And so the student that I pissed off, I got an email one day, and the student goes, hey, it took me a long time to get through your course. I want my money back. It didn't solve my problem. And I go, oh, I'm sorry. And he said, I have 0 debt, but buying real estate, obviously through your course, takes money. I don't even know how to even answer that. So I want my money back. That's what he said. I'm like, I don't even know how to answer that. Do you rent? And I go, so I went back and I looked, and at my guarantees, I give people money back guarantee. I said, if you 14-day money back guarantee, as long as you haven't watched it over 50% of the course, yeah, dude, get your money back. And 1.2% of people have asked me for money back. And I go, no problem. Just go. Yeah, go for it. Because it's a guarantee, right? And you're never going to get anywhere if you're not honest. So I went back and looked, and he'd had the course for like 23 days. And what did he do? Oh, and he watched 100% of the course. So I just emailed him and said, hey, just so you know, this is my deal, my agreement, the guarantee. And I said, and I kept going. I said, why can't you afford a home? Are you renting somewhere? I mean, you have 0 debt. And so he immediately started to say, I go, I can't give you a refund because it's outside of the agreement. Actually, the software shuts you down anyway. And because it's about credit card processing and all that weird stuff. So I go, okay, here we go. Actually, that's not about credit card processing. It's about how we set it up in our platform. And I'm trying to like get it out of him. Like, what's your problem? And I knew he didn't believe in himself, or he's a scammer. And it could be. So he immediately comes back and says, and starts saying that I'm not a man of God and not honest. And yeah, he lives by a different code. And I'm like, okay, I guess that code's going outside of agreements. So I said, are you a man of God? Now we're going to get back into this real estate crash. It's very important. So I was doing this on purpose. I'm trying to wake him up. And sometimes you can't wake someone up without pissing them off a little bit. And I said more to encourage him, like, you can totally do this. You must have missed some points in this thing. Because when I'm telling you that everything's crashing and you do this, this, and this, and then you'll walk into a bank and a bank will go, please take these homes over. It's going to be very easy. If you do this, this, and this, you have to take action now to get your credit score ready, to get out of debt or to get lower in debt, have your debt to equity ratios right, your debt to income ratios right, those kind of things, right? Know how to fill out, have a personal balance sheet set up, all that kind of stuff, right? How to identify the properties you're going to want to buy and the ones you want to stay away from them. And they sat there and then, you know, he's attacking me spiritually. So I simply asked him, I said, are you a man of God? And he answers back, those are the facts. I don't even know what kind of answer that is. And I said, okay, then let me ask you this. Why would you, he said, he goes, I'm just going to do a credit card chargeback. And I answer back, I think you should. You need to do that, which I will incur fees and I will pay them. But I'm not going to break a contract. See, I'm here to show people. And another lesson just dropped yesterday, which I screwed up. I said, I put up the non-edited version. So you got me complaining about how loud my fridge is, but I changed it and put the edited version on a very important ratio. So if you guys have the course, go check it out. It's about the gold to real estate ratio and what's happening next. People need to be coached. I have been coached so many different times in my life. And one thing I did, and I say it in the beginning of my course, and I tell you what I did. I said, when you start this course or anything, or you start to watch a video by one of your favorite YouTubers that gives amazing information, say this out loud. I am going to learn something from this person today. I am going to get something out of this information today. I want you to understand this. This is a very serious thing. It opens up parts of your brain that would otherwise be closed if you didn't verbally and then inside internalize that exact phrase. I am going to get something out of this today. What does it do? It then drives you to learn. How many of us read books and after a while we're reading and you could tell it's something in your brain just sort of switches and you're reading the words and you're seeing it, but you're not accepting it. It's not coming into your brain. It's a very real thing. Like right now, I'm listening to an audiobook and reading at the same time to take it in two different ways into my body, the information, so I can absorb it like you wouldn't believe. But there are times when I can feel myself hearing it and my eyes are following it and now I'm just following it. I'm not reading it. You know, when you read something quietly and you can hear the words in your brain, you guys know what I'm talking about? If you don't know what I'm talking about, type 3. If you know what I'm talking about, type 4. Because I'm curious, when you're reading something, you go from hearing it in your brain, even though you're thinking, right, to all of a sudden you're just following the lines and you're seeing the words. That's the difference of retaining it. See, what I teach is nothing, it's not rocket science. I still don't know anyone teaching real estate cycles. That's, I think, a big deal. Because that's the one, that's the big macro. That's what Warren Buffett looks at. That's why when Warren Buffett pulls out of the stock market slowly and little by little, it's not to alarm everyone. And he's just like, oh yeah, I think you should all, everyone should have a good retirement plan with a 401k. Yeah, see what Warren Buffett does. It's totally different. He invests differently. And I think that people, thank you, DJ or DI. I think that people need to understand this. Because he thinks big and he goes, okay, I'm pulling out stocks now. Now I'm going to buy the crash, which in 2008 was the transport stocks, the rail lines, trucking companies, freight companies, things like that. Those are actually collapsing right now. Everything that happened in 2006, 2007 is happening right now, but it's on a much bigger scale. So this is the last part I want to tell you, because I get this comment all the time. Yeah, it's always 80% off. Yeah, you're right. For 1 year, I have sold that course between $199, which is 80% off the sticker price, and $250, depending on what I offered with extra bonus courses. I did this for a reason, and I screwed up. A lot of very wealthy people told me I screwed up. He said, you should have went for the big prices first, not because you want to make more money, because you want the better quality student. That is the only difference between the price, the quality of the student. See, I bought expensive courses. I bought $1,000 courses before, and boy, did I pay attention. That was a lot of money. Like one of the subscribers that shared with me the $7,500 course that he purchased, and he's in the business, and he listened. All he was looking for was one nugget, and he knows that he could replicate that so many times. He's going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars next year alone. And he found those nuggets. He actually found multiples. It's all about how your brain is wired and how you are taking in the information. Like my cousin that watched the course twice and has multiple pages of notes. And he's been a real estate investor. He's bought properties before, right? So it's really important. Well, when I screwed up, they said you should have charged a lot. And I said, I really want to help the person. This is what gets me excited. I want to help the person that never believed in themselves. And I get that. I get to talk with my students every once in a while. I've done group calls and things like that. And I've told you that this next year, a company is coming along and helping me sell this course. But they followed me to Vegas, and then I met with their team in Dallas, and they are super professional. They are crushing it in their field. And one of the founders said, look, and I didn't have faith in myself. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And he goes, yeah, you can. He goes, and he told me some things, and it really woke me up to that fact. And I said, well, I just need a full year. Offer it to him for a full year. That's my sales pitch. That's a sales pitch. That's the whole scarcity. If you act now, well, my now is by January 1st. I close that course off. And I've done stuff before where I've sold things and people are like, oh man, I missed it. I'm like, I'm sorry you missed it. You had a year. There's no excuses. If you want to learn cycles, if you want to learn how to prepare, it's as easy. And let me ask you this. You want to hear a sales pitch? This is the sales pitch. How much would it cost? How much would you pay? How much would you pay? Put it down below. If somebody came to you and spent 10 minutes with you, that was, or let's say an hour with you, and in 1 hour could show you everything they did to get ready for that last real estate crash, and show you how to do it yourself, how you could do it based on your situation, your income, your mindset, which is the biggest thing. Because remember, I bought my first house, not from money from my parents, not from working overtimes. I, on my days off, went and sold electric trains. I bought at garage sales and I put them on eBay. Okay. I raised $20,000 in a year to do that. So I just figured out a way to go make more money because I needed more money to get in, but I needed the mindset to be there, right? I said, how much would you pay to have a plan lined out in front of you that you know if you use it, that you'll make hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions? Real estate's the easiest way, especially in a downturn, to become a millionaire. Not only through gains in the real estate values and the cash flow, but in legal tax loopholes, amazing loopholes. Like learning to become a real estate professional. That's a designation that the IRS gives. You've got a list of things you got to do to hit. But once you do it, you get write-offs that not a lot of people get. Very few people, actually. It's very valuable. So how much would you pay? And that's the question. I mean, and that's what you need to ask. You need to start life hacking like that CPA. He paid $7,500 to learn from someone in the exact same business, but he had 20 years experience doing it. That's impressive. You guys want 80% off. That's the sales pitch. It's $199. I've been doing that sales pitch for almost a year. It gets closed January 1st and we move on. And I'm about to make some big changes myself because there's a lot more to me than the way I do my videos. And I did it on purpose because there were a couple people, big players in the game, that snickered. And I said, one day, you're not going to be snickering. Hope you guys got something from this. Thank you so much. The Real Estate Ninja is out. Come on now.